Warning, if you're faint of heart or easily offended, this show is not for you.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean,
but
Max Payne originated from the video game, and they own the rights to their Max Payne version of it.
Oh, they do?
To
Okay.
theirs.
Got it. But what you're saying, tell us how the Max Payne thing happened, how it came into play, and how we adopted it with you.
So I've been using Max Payne for many years from the home game side before I ever got to the third, because people would want to run it twice. I'm like, fuck that. We're not running it twice. Look, you play poker. I want to see some Max Payne. And so we're only going to run it once. And so whenever we'd play home games and I was at the table, that was just my rule. If you want me to play at your game, we're going to run it one time. Somebody's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And then when the card houses and the live streams started coming around, everybody knew me from that. And so I watched a Lodge live stream. And one night there was 8 different times that people ran it twice, and every time was chopped. So finally, I just started super chatting left and right. And I'm like, this is bullshit. We don't tune in for 5 hours to watch people chop. We want to see somebody get hurt. We want to see somebody get up from the table disgusted. We want to see those people who buy in for like $10,000. They fire one bullet. They leave disgusted. That makes us feel happy. And I hate to say that, but pain does make us feel happy.
Well, yeah, the chat pros, they love blood.
Yes. So...
Welcome to the Nick Vertucci Show. I am Nick Vertucci, and I am here with the infamous DQ. DQ, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, man. Looking sharp. You
Thank
got the hat on, the glasses.
Yeah.
What was that fella's name back in the day? What was the guy's name?
Hoyt Corkins?
Yeah, Corkins. Are you the new Corkins?
I don't know. I like that guy. That guy was epic. I used to watch him all the time.
Hoyt Corkins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
He was,
we
he
got
was
our
a gentleman.
version.
Yeah,
He was.
absolutely. I'm just the newer version for the kids that didn't know who he was before.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a lot of personal questions for you. You're from Texas.
I am.
You are a resident of the Lodge.
I am.
Ish, right?
That is
yeah.
my home place.
That's your home base.
Yep.
And tell the people, does anyone know your real name?
No.
And we're going to keep it that way?
Yeah.
You're DQ.
The only people that know my real name are the places where I have to wire money.
Yeah. Okay. And so DQ stands for what?
Dairy Queen.
And why?
Actually, this is kind of an interesting story.
All right.
So I tell people all the time, no one ever believes me. They say, what do you do? I say, I work for Dairy Queen. It's an art form to learn how to drop those fries and flip the burgers. I mean, it took me years to master that.
Yeah.
But the reality was that when I started playing home games, way before there was ever, card houses or places that was doing live poker like you were doing on stream and stuff like that, everybody was playing all these home games. And I was making a lot of money, and I was driving a really nice sports car.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, people started playing me differently because they recognized I could lose the money. And so they were playing hands they never did. And I was like, all right, so I don't like this. I need to come back and reinvent myself. So I came back. And when I came back like 6 months later, I told everyone I worked for a clay chip factory. And that's all I did. I helped process making the clay chips. And I had all this information about it. And then like several months later, somebody brought a friend. That guy actually worked at a fucking clay chip factory and just called bullshit.
You out.
Oh, right there in front of everybody. It was so embarrassing. And then at the same time, you got a lot of waitresses that work these games. And sometimes the waitresses, they are a little...
You're going to call them waitresses, huh?
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. And they're a little interested in money. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there, I'm married, and I didn't want the attention or anything like that. So I took a break, and I already had to reinvent myself because they already called me out from being a clay chip guy.
Right.
So I went to somebody else's house, and I said, listen, when I go over here and people ask what I do, I'm just going to make something up. Go with it. He says, so what do you do? I go, I work at Dairy Queen. They go, you work at Dairy Queen? Yeah, I just work at Dairy Queen. That's it. And back then, you only play like 1-3 games, right? So that's not really far-fetched to think that.
Sure.
Well, no one was paying attention to the $120,000 Mercedes convertible I had outside.
Yeah.
All they heard was, oh, you work at Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Anti-waitress magnet. Anti.
Oh, That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
They don't want anyone that's just doing the soft serve thing.
No, absolutely not. No, they don't want the soft serve.
As soon as they knew that, they were gone.
Done.
Which was good. That's what you wanted.
It's 100% right. It's what my wife wanted. So that was a very good thing that I did.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of stuck with me. And so from that point forward, anybody that ever came in, they asked me what I did. I just said I worked for Dairy Queen, and I've done the same thing. I drop fries, I flip burgers, and I make blizzards. I've been doing that now for 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
And then the game runners and stuff would put me in their phones as DQ James. And then whenever somebody said he doesn't really work for Dairy Queen, they would show their phones and go, yeah, see, look, DQ, Dairy Queen. And it's just
That's
stuck.
it. Yeah.
And you know how it is. Once you get a poker nickname, you can't get rid of your poker
tell me
nickname.
about it. Tell me about it. You got to lean in. You got to lean heavy in. Well, let's before we get to what we did yesterday, let's go right there. They'll like that. So, I didn't really know who you were. Right. And the reason is because, and this sounds crazy, but like I didn't, I knew of the lodge. I didn't really watch that much, and that's not a troll. It's just I just hadn't. I think they're amazing. Their launch is great, all that. So I wasn't like privy to exactly who you were, and you're known for going into chats and maybe kicking up some dust.
Yeah, pretty much.
And donating lots of money to super chats.
Lots of money.
Yeah, and so I was home, and I was watching the show. And I saw like a super chat from you for like $100, and you fucking laid me out. Like you were like, how in the world does this guy even get in his own, blah, 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 Nick Vertucci. And I can't remember. I think I DM'd you. You can refresh me. And I said, I don't know who you think you are, you dickhead, but you're not going to come into my chat for $100 and start, whatever. Do you remember that? Yeah, I mean, you remember that, but was it like that?
It was pretty much like that. I had already agreed.
Refresh me if it was different.
I had already agreed to come on the show. We'll go back to why I came on the show, but I already agreed to come on the show. And I was talking with Ryan. I did this. And so when I go in the chats, I'm a chat pro, right? So I'm sitting here following the line, everything else. You were being you, right? You were playing tight conservative poker on a live stream, and you were just fucking sucking, man. I mean, you were just fucking folding good hands, and
aces, everything.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I finally super chatted like everybody was, and it was something. I was trolling you, and I was just like, who the fuck lets this guy on?
But it was a heavy troll.
It was
It was over the top troll. It wasn't just like
it wasn't over the top. It was a troll for chat bros, right? So when I did it, the chat people just loved it. They were like, oh my god, that's great. And then the very next day later, I didn't get a DM from you. I got a text message from you.
You got
my number from Ryan.
Oh.
And you sent me a text message and you said, look, I don't know who the fuck you think you are, but no dick like you is going to be coming on my show after trolling me like that. I don't know who the fuck you think you are. And so I immediately started telling Ryan, I go, Ryan, holy shit, dude. I'm just fucking around. Let's like chat bro shit. And I'm like, dude, Nick's like legitimately pissed.
Yeah.
And you were until we finally spoke about it.
Well, you even went to Doug and you said, hey, what do you think about this? Like, and he's like, well, do you know him? And you're like, no. And he's like, might have been a little too much, Yeah. It wasn't that it's over the top, but it was really targeted. Like it was super chat. It was in color. It was $100, and you didn't really hold any punches, right? Which, to be honest with you, and again, I'll only take 2 seconds on this. That was a while ago. If honestly, no bullshit, if you'd have done that today, I may have cocked my head at you and maybe like had a little thing inside, but that stuff doesn't bother me anymore. But it was like, man, this guy thinks he's gonna come onto my show, donate $100, and then this is the type of shit, So yeah, that was pretty funny.
And I've been known for my super chats in Texas and every place else.
You're lucky. You got a few bucks, or you go broke on these super chats. Like you're donating a shitload of money.
I have donated an entire ton of money. Even though, yes, I know 30, 40% goes to YouTube, I didn't care. When I first started doing it, it was because of all the commentators in Texas who were doing this. They weren't making a lot of money. So I started super chatting to help give them like tips like you would anything else. And then I was encouraging other people to start super chatting.
Yeah.
And then I would get in like these wars with people over super chatting is like who could super chat the most. And before you know it, you could go in a night and you get $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 in super chats.
Oh my God.
And that's a ton of money.
It is, especially if you keep going into these damn things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you got people going back and forth, et cetera. And of course, that of course endears you to all the commentators when you give them money.
That's right. That's right. They love it. They love it. And they read it.
Yes. And when I first started doing it for you guys, and then I reached out to DJF and I'm like, hey, you appreciate the super chats? And he's like, yeah, we don't see any of that money. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, no, we don't see any of that money. So I immediately texted Ryan. I go, hey, Ryan, just so you know, every other place gives the money back to the production team. And he's like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because no one had ever done the super chats before.
You're right.
And so then he's like, okay. And he immediately changed it. And then once he changed it, then all of a sudden Raver and Billy are like, super chats, let's go.
Yeah. We were, we were new to this.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody be so new, but yet be the monsters of
well, that just, sometimes that just happens, We talked about it a little while ago, how that happened. And I gave you the 411. How did you get into poker? Where'd that come from? Like, how are you here?
Actually, I started playing poker when I was really young, like my dad and my brother, right? You just play a little nickel, dime, quarter, had a good time. Then as I started getting older and I was a waiter, we would take our tips and we'd start playing after the night.
Yeah.
And I started winning money and so forth. And then as I got older, had a job, people started having like little friendly home games, right? You'd have 8 people, 9 people come in. You do like a little sit and go for $20 and you'd play some cards. Started doing that, then got into the big home game circuits in town. Played those for 15 years, playing all the big home games. And then COVID introduced me to card houses when we came out of COVID. Oh. And then when I was there, I walked into a card house for the very first time.
Which one?
Rounders in San Antonio. My favorite place to go to. And went there to Rounders. And I just said, hey, I'd like to play a game. Do y'all have like any 5, 10 games? And they said, no. And they said, but we'll put a list together. And my name was on the list. It just says DQ.
That's it.
Took 30 minutes and the entire game was filled.
Oh, nice.
And people, because people knew who I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. And they came in and I destroyed the game. And somebody said, hey, you want to do it again next week? So we started doing it. Well, then I met several people who play cards regularly. And those sons of bitches don't reach out via text messages. They only reach out via Instagram, and that's all they do. And I'm just like, so I had to start an Instagram account. I didn't know how to do it. Seti, the poker traveler, helps me set up all this stuff. And then Seti was one of the guys who helped me find out about what live streams were. And at the time, it was TCH in Austin. It was The Lodge. It was TCH in Dallas and places like that. And somebody said, hey, you'd be fun. And I went up there one time, and I think the second time I was there was with Brad Owens and Andrew Nemi, and it just kind of took off from
Were
there.
you hooked?
Yeah, I was hooked.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So speaking of that, so the Lodge is your home base. We'll get to that in a second. It must just be, I don't want to say it's a hobby, but you must really get off on donking money. And here's what I mean by that. I know you know how to play. But the reason I say is because, like, yesterday we'll get to our meetup game because that's just a fun little thing. But even in bigger games, you're often known to play your hand blind till the river. Yeah. It's probably not optimal.
No.
You would agree?
It's 100% losing strategy.
And you are so preoccupied, which is great for a show. You are so preoccupied with winning the VPIP stat. You don't give two shits if you leave with a win.
That's crazy.
You want the title of the VPIP. And so, like, people have got to love you, like, way more than they would like someone like me. I get it. But, like, what's the thinking? Because I can't even process not wanting to go in there and try to win.
I mean, look, obviously there's got to be a little bit of narcissistic tendencies there to want to have the attention or whatever else. But you know what it was that when I was watching the live streams and I was watching the good quality players, play like crap, play like a bunch of nits. We're just going to call them Nicks for now. Whole table for you guys. It wasn't fun.
We're friends now. I won't kick you out.
It wasn't fun. Yeah. And then I would watch people play. And when the first time I saw DJF play, I saw Ludacris play, and I was just like, okay, these are people that I like to play with, and I like to have a good time. And so I wanted to do something different than everybody else was doing. And the funny thing is that I've begged every fucking live stream to just eliminate the VPIP altogether. Just eliminate it.
Oh, just get rid of the stat.
Get rid of the whole stat. Don't ever do it. Don't ever put it up. And if you did it, then I would feel more comfortable folding hands. I would feel more comfortable playing.
Why do you think they put it up? Why does that stat matter?
Because they want punters like me to come on.
Okay.
I mean,
we could keep the stat private.
Well, you could.
And still have the stat.
Oh, absolutely. But then the people wouldn't be able to troll.
They love that,
right.
Yeah.
They
I get it. I'm just asking what I already know.
Yeah, and then they love to troll the people that get 18% or 14% or whatever else.
One of those guys are idiots.
Right. And so then it's not even enough because now if you call, but then you fold, they're like, well, you didn't really have that VPIP anyways. You were just calling for the VPIPs or whatever else. Well, we have to because otherwise you troll the shit out of us.
Yeah. So, and you lean heavy into that.
I do.
Okay, let's talk about yesterday. So because I have a lot of podcasts that are in kind of in the tank, which like I have a lot to drop, I usually record them and then I have them. So for everybody, it's Monday, February 27th. And yesterday on the 26th, Hustler, we had a meetup game.
Epic.
And It was probably the most epic meetup game ever, anywhere. We broke massive records. We had 25 to 30 tables full with people waiting. We had a DJ Washburn, so the music was pumping. People were drinking. It was literally a party with 30 poker tables.
For over 7 hours.
For 7 hours.
Yeah.
It was insane. Literally, I've had people DMing me and told me yesterday, it literally was one of the most fun times that they had in they can't remember, and begging us to do it like every month.
Oh,
and
I know.
we can't.
You
can't.
No.
But yeah, and so tell me about that. And you played almost all your hands blind?
I did. So
Yeah.
as part of just the meetup and whatever else, because this is the same time that I was having my contest, so there was some notoriety around that, and I appreciate Hustler including me on the meetup game.
We're going to talk about that.
And it was a lot of fun, but I had never experienced anything like it. I've been to meetup games. I participated in meetup games. But when you brought in the music with DJ Washburn, just spinning it, and Raver coming in and helping out, and then you had so many people that people see and play on Hustler show up to be a part of it. Mariano shows up. Francisco the Pro shows up. You got a lot of people who showed up to play with regular people at a small game. Well, it was supposed to be a small game. It was like a 2-3 game with a $500 max buy-in, and then I don't know what the hell broke out because every table had thousands of dollars.
Yeah, everyone's just like, do you care if I buy in for $2,000?
Right.
No, we don't care.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead. Oh, you mind if I buy in for $5,000? But it was, it was epic, and I had never seen anything like it. We had over 30 over 30 players and staff of Hustler Casino Live and their players, like you mentioned, there with 1 to 2 people of our staff or players sitting at tables playing with everybody.
We were trying to rotate
blast.
people every 45 minutes, and we ended up having 1 or 2 people at every table just because we had so many people coming on to play. I personally chose to try to make it as epic of a time as I could for anybody who was at my table, so I played 100% of my hands blind. Boy, I hurt a lot of people. For those of you who hurt, I'm sorry, but you guys knew what you were getting in when I came into.
Isn't that sick?
And then
you
other
play
people
blind and hurt anyone.
Yeah, and then other times I paid a few car payments and stuff like that.
Nice,
so it balanced itself out.
Yeah. You were just spreading it around.
I
back
100% was spreading it around and just having a great. I was going out to the outer tables because we were in the inner part where everybody sees the Hustler. Then you start going in the outer, and I turned around. Nick, every single table was full. People were at the cage talking to the managers, kind of getting frustrated that they couldn't get in the game. The local people who come to play go, "What do you mean I can't get a seat?"
Yeah.
And the guy's looking around going, "Tell me
where do you want to sit?"
Yeah.
People flew in. Tons of people flew in from other states.
Oh, I don't know if you realize this, but at many of the tables, we had to go 10-handed.
Yeah.
Just to 10-handed to go accommodate. That's insane.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen anything like it. To put it into perspective, there was a dance contest. There was a dance contest.
Yes, there was a dance
contest. It was
contest.
crazy. It was a dance contest. I mean, this is a meetup game.
Yeah, you should have just had Ronnie, because when Ronnie showed up.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my God, Ronnie showed up.
He was dancing at his own table the whole time.
Absolutely, he came in dancing, doing his glide and stuff.
Yeah, with his big white fur.
He had a big white. He was pimping it
Ronnie
out
the Pimp.
big time. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. So tell everybody that doesn't know about first of all, what the giveaway was.
Yep.
What you gave away.
Yep.
What it constituted, and why did you pick Hustler?
Sure. So the giveaway is basically, by the time everybody sees this, it's all going to have been done, completed, etc. I really just wanted to give something back to the people who are in chatters, people who constantly message me or talk and say, "Gosh, I would love one day to get where you are and play at one of the live streams," right? And so they kept talking about that over and over. So I thought, let me put away a giveaway, let me put away a package, etc. I introduced this before to my friends at the lodge, but because they were going through a reconstruction, they weren't interested, and that was back last summer. And so I kind of briefly brought it up to Decaf, and he was like, "Dude, that would be epic. You should totally do it." And so then I started thinking about what I could do and kind of came up with the idea of I would like to give somebody the opportunity to come on Hustler and to play on Max Payne Monday, because the rest of the days of the week is just, they couldn't play. So if we did that, I would cover their airfare. Then I would cover their hotel. And then what I would do is I'd give them 2 $4,000 bullets. And so I presented this to Ryan, and Ryan goes, "No, we are not doing this." "Why not?" "Because, dude, with all the shit and scandal that we have, we can't have anything." And I said, "Well, A, I haven't asked Hustler for a single penny. B, I'm not making anything off of it."
Yeah, why would he think that would be a no-no? That's just a giveaway. We're not...
Well, because what he was worried about was that I was backing the players, and therefore I would
You're
be
allowed
incentivized. yeah, but he didn't want that because of everything going on.
Oh, no,
so
when
I explained to him that it was a true free roll, he's like, well, what do you mean a free roll? I said, well, here's how it's going to work. They're going to get a $4,000 bullet. If they lose that $4,000 bullet, it's done, it's gone. I've just lost $4,000. Here's the second one. If they take that $4,000 and they lose it, I've lost $8,000. But if they take it and spin it up to $10,000,
you get $4 back.
I get the $4 back from the second bullet, and they get to keep the $6,000 profit. They get to keep everything.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, how much of that are you taking? I said, I'm not taking a damn penny.
Yeah.
And I said, I have no sponsors. I have no backers. This is just me 100% out of my pocket. I wanted to give back to the chat pros. So as Ryan approved it, and then I started talking with Raver about it. Raver, appreciate you, jackass. Raver goes, it wouldn't be epic if you gave it to one person. It would be epic if you gave it to 2 people.
Oh, wow. That's how that
happened.
happened.
Yeah, so Raver gets all the credit for me giving it to 2 people. So that's what we did. And so we ended up going through Twitter as the main place because we hired a third-party company to run the contest. In other words, when we pick the winner, we don't pick it. It's a computer-generated, randomly drawn name, and that's how it is. But the Twitter people and the company that we used, they were able to find out, like, if you were trying to create 10 different fake accounts and get entries in there, they stopped it. It was a scam, and they weren't able to do
so
it.
they know how to monitor that, huh?
100%. And we couldn't do that through Instagram because Instagram didn't have the capabilities, which is why we were doing it on Twitter. And the funny thing is you know how people love to troll. I was getting trolled by all my fans on Instagram. And they're like, what the hell, DQ? I don't have a Twitter account. Isn't there any other way? And I go, let me get this straight. I'm about to give away $20,000 out of my pocket, and you're complaining about having to create a Twitter account that you could just delete a month later? And they're like, oh, yeah, it's
kind of
probably
a good point. Yeah.
So, the total package is going to cost me about $20,000. I'm hoping that the guy that plays tonight, Ben Cooper, who's from Canada, who plays PLO, I'm hoping he's good and I don't lose my bullets. And then we got equally as much people pissed because originally we said, look, you got to be a U.S. resident, or at least not a resident, but live in the U.S.
Yeah, I saw somebody push back about being pissed about something. Said if you advertise something, it's not. What was that?
So we originally, Raver and I came up with, you need to be inside the United States because this is getting closer to spring break and the plane tickets are really expensive. But then as we put it out there, I got messages all over the place. I'm talking probably 30 people from Canada, Scotland, England, India. I got it from just an amazing number of places. And everybody said, I've got my own money. I've got my own visa. I've got this. If I win, please let me buy my own plane ticket just to play. And I went, done. If you want to buy your own plane ticket and you want to come all the way from Dubai, 3 people from Dubai said, Hustler's my favorite show. I want to do this. So, and then you asked why I picked Hustler. Well, I started off with my local because it's my local, right? And I didn't know how big it could possibly be until I started talking with Billy and Raver. And then when I realized it had the chance to have, 3, 4, 500,000 views on it, well, you got to go to the biggest and the best, right?
Yeah.
There's just no one bigger. There's no one better. And the reality of it was when I started just like putting out feelers on Instagram, like unanimously, everybody said it's got to be a Hustler.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Oops. Are you going to do it again?
So I talked to Billy and I said, I don't even know what to do because I got a lot of people who said this was epic. Like you don't realize how epic of a giveaway this was. It's never been done before.
Yeah.
And I don't think of it that way. I just think of it as trying to help out 2 chat pro people. And so I told Billy, well, how do you follow it up? Like, could you do another giveaway? What would it look like, et cetera? And so I don't know. We'll go into the think tank. We'll think about it and see what we can do.
Play by ear. Did anyone else help you fund this, or did you fund the whole thing?
No, I'm still funding 100% the whole thing.
You're funding it, okay.
Not one penny from any person, any company, any organization.
And it's going to cost you a 20 ball when it's all said and done?
Yes, sir.
That's good.
And
not good, but it's that's a lot.
Well, so think about this. I now have a Twitter account, which I've never had. I've got Instagram. I have merchandise and stuff that I've been giving out forever. I don't monetize a single thing. I have no monetization on my accounts. I don't have a YouTube account that I monetize. The merchandise that I have, I've given away for free. I've never charged a penny to anybody.
Yeah.
And every time I give away merchandise, I take the cost and I give it to charity.
How much merch did you give away yesterday at the meetup game?
Over $2,000.
Wow.
And I had to pack a big ass suitcase just to bring it too.
You got rid of all of it, yeah?
Oh, it was quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you go back and if you see footage, you're going to see Max Payne shit all over the place, as you should, because we provided a lot of Max Payne.
Let's talk about Max Payne. There's been, I wouldn't say, well, it's not controversy, but I have heard, I don't remember the guys that did a sports podcast. I can't remember their names, and I apologize if you're watching. I was on their podcast once, which is even more embarrassing. And when I was on there, they told me that the Max Payne idea came from them. Now, right.
Could be.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean,
but
Max Payne originated from the video game, and they own the rights to their Max Payne version of it.
Oh, they do?
To
Okay.
theirs.
Got it. But what you're saying, tell us how the Max Payne thing happened, how it came into play, and how we adopted it with you.
So I've been using Max Payne for many years from the home game side before I ever got to the third, because people would want to run it twice. I'm like, fuck that. We're not running it twice. Look, you play poker. I want to see some Max Payne. And so we're only going to run it once. And so whenever we'd play home games and I was at the table, that was just my rule. If you want me to play at your game, we're going to run it one time. Somebody's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And then when the card houses and the live streams started coming around, everybody knew me from that. And so I watched a Lodge live stream. And one night there was 8 different times that people ran it twice, and every time was chopped. So finally, I just started super chatting left and right. And I'm like, this is bullshit. We don't tune in for 5 hours to watch people chop. We want to see somebody get hurt. We want to see somebody get up from the table disgusted. We want to see those people who buy in for like $10,000. They fire one bullet. They leave disgusted. That makes us feel happy. And I hate to say that, but pain does make us feel happy.
Well, yeah, the chat pros, they love blood.
Yes. So why would anybody want to show up to a fucking stream and watch a bunch of people chop it? Even though, like, if you're doing your Friday game, you got your biggest game out there and people are like, hey, you want to run it twice? No, fuck you. I turned into this till 1 o'clock in the morning. I want to watch somebody lose a $50,000, $100,000 pot. I don't want to see chopping.
Yeah, no, totally. And nobody does. And I think the only reason that's allowed is because some of the players, you know this, some of the players, especially when the pots become so bloated, I think we allow it because, what people don't understand is, like, it's a show, it's entertainment, but these are, there's a lot of idiots out there that have trolled us. Said, is this real money? It's not real money. There's a couple dumb shits out there like
it's real money.
Prahlad Friedman, who trying to pitch that this is all fake money and that, they're only playing a certain percentage of all of it for clicks and shows. Idiots, yes. Right? Okay. But with that said, when you're running any private game, especially like a show, and you're playing as big as we do, you probably know there, and I'm not going to mention any of their names, but there's a lot of names that if you go back a year ago that were favorites. And they were favorites because of the VPIP stuff. They were favorites because of the crazy stuff. But they're gone.
Yes.
And so there's attrition to players, and they go into the hospital, or they start to figure out, oh my God, like that's like too much on the regular. So we've never cock-blocked the 2 times just because we want to just give the players the opportunity to at least decide. But I get it.
Well, and I get that too. So people who don't, if you've never played on one of the live streams or you've never played it, you don't understand that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. And that was what was so cool about when you guys created your Max Payne Monday.
That was awesome. People love it.
Yeah. And so you had one night, y'all were already running the Monday show. Y'all were trying to think of a name for it. You put it out in the chatters. And several people, one in particular who went by the name of Snow Monkey, went out and said, you should call it Max Payne Monday. Now, these are people, and then they voted on it, and they voted Max Payne Monday. But the people who voted on it, when they went back and looked, these were all the people who've been watching me at the lodge and TCH and everything else. And so the moment that you guys said, hey, we're going to do this, my Instagram DMs went through the roof.
Yep.
And one night I had like maybe 100. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And people are like, I can't believe you're going to let them steal your name. I thought you said you got this thing trademarked and registered. And I said, I do. I paid for all of that. And they go, well, they don't know it. And so what I did was, I didn't know who to reach out to. So you know how I did it? I went on the fucking show and I super chatted. And I started super chatting and go, hey.
Is that right? I don't know any of this.
I hear you guys think that you guys can call this Max Payne Monday, but not invite Max Payne on your show.
I didn't even know that.
And then Raver was like, oh, I thought we'd be hearing from you soon, and then it turned from there and I got invited, and then I almost got uninvited by trolling you.
That was a temporary blip.
And so it kind of went from there. So people ask me all the time, they go, well, how much is Hustler paying you? And I go, they're not paying me for anything. Well, I thought you said you registered this and you got it trademarked. I said, I did. And they go, well, how come you're not getting paid? And I go, that's not who I am. Like, I didn't come to Hustler because I wanted to get paid. And I didn't come on the show going, hey, listen, you're using my stuff. Pay me. I just wanted to be a part of the entertainment in the show. Yeah. And what I loved about Monday was it was all about entertainment. It was about putting on a show. And that's what I do with the high VPIPs. That's what Billy does with the high VPIPs. The whole point is to have it entertainment. Yep. It was a natural for me.
Well, people love it, and they probably thank you. I thank you because Monday show is one of our most popular shows. People look forward to the nonsense. They do. It's insane. The slow rolling, Nipplegate, this gate, that gate. I mean, like, it's amazing the stuff that's come out of like our show in general, including the Jack Forehand and everything else. But it's cool, and you would have to say Hustler's your second home, yeah?
Oh, easily.
Yeah,
it's been my home for a little while, only because the lodge was down for so long. But and the only reason why it's got to be my second home is I'm in San Antonio, Texas. So coming out over here is not easy. I think people don't realize that you're spending $1,500 to $2,000 just to come out here and stay out here just to play on TV and punt money.
And punt, and it's. Hopefully you obviously must have a lot of money because you're donking off a lot
I
of
do,
bread,
but you know where all the money comes. The money comes after the stream, right? After the stream, time and time again, I'll lose $22,000, $25,000 on stream, and then after the stream,
and then you'll try.
Yeah. Well, it's not that. The moment the camera lights go off, right? So the moment the camera lights go off, then everybody goes back to playing the way they normally play, and then I play a really aggressive game. So like the last time we were here, love you, Mike Mattisau, but I put Mike on epic fucking tilt. Epic fucking tilt. That guy lost so much money after the stream.
Yeah,
and I ended up, I was down like 22,000 on stream, and I cashed out for 52,000 by the time I was done.
Yeah.
It happens a lot. So if I can punt it off on stream and then make it all back after the stream, why the hell do I care? It's good shows. It's good entertainment.
Of course.
It's the times that I don't make it back. Oh, I hate those days.
Yeah, those
days suck. Yeah.
Who's your favorite player on Max Payne Monday to play with, and who do you like slow rolling and beating the most?
Ooh, it used to be DGAF, right? And then I think quickly it's becoming Sashimi because she's just become a little bitch, and you have. I don't know where the damn cameras are, but you have.
Yeah.
She's almost gotten a little too big for her britches now. But she put one of the most epic slow rolls on Billy that I was a part of there when Mattisau was there, and that was just great. So now it's more fun, but it's hard to say that there's any one person. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think that when you get people on there who've never played before, watching them attempt to slow roll is hilarious.
Right.
They're like overly acting.
There's some uncomfortable moments.
Yes.
There's some really awkward moments. And then there's been some really good, oh my God.
Yeah, but when you get the pros on there, so you get a Mattisau on there, you get any of the pros on there, those people are the best to slow roll.
Yeah.
Because they try to take it in stride and they try to laugh it off.
But they're not used to it, and it's against their etiquette.
Absolutely. And then they just, after time, it just boils in them.
Boils,
And when it happens,
there
you're
is
so
a
excited.
point. There is a point, I think, where some people get boiled up, when they're really losing a lot.
But that's the whole point of Max Payne Monday.
Speaking of boiled up, this just happened this past week at the Lodge's launch.
Yes.
What do you think about Nick Airball's antics with Jungle Man? What have you heard about it? What do you think about it? That you went to dinner last night with everybody. There was a video made. Just vomit what your thoughts are.
So first off, I want to give the hats off to the Lodge. When you have the best live stream that Hustler does, people can now do something to compare it against, right? They know what to build. And when Doug and those people went
There's been a lot of duplication on their part, but that's okay because anytime Doug has asked us for like a question or something, we tell him.
He's always said that.
Yeah, we tell him like, hey, how do you do this? Here's how you do it. And like all their tweets look just like Ryan's.
Yep.
Right? Like the exact format.
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Duplication is powerful, right?
And there's plenty of business for everybody.
Again, we're a big supporter. There isn't never like, oh, we're not going to tell them. We tell them.
So they made this big studio, and it kind of looks like the original Poker After Dark. It's an amazing studio. They had a lot of people come on there, and so like word started coming around Monday or Tuesday that Nick Airball was coming on. And Mike X and I were there, and Mike X and I were sitting there talking with Joe Ingram and others and going like, you need to get ready for a show. Like Nick's not just coming down here to play. I promise you, Nick wants to remind everybody that Hustler's the best, and he's just going to put a hurting on everybody. And they were just like, oh yeah, we'll wait and see whatever else. And so I am on a plane coming to here to play for the weekend, and we're only like 20 minutes into the stream, and I hear this, you're my bitch. You're my bitch. And he's just yelling at Jungle Man.
And he says, you're my bitch now.
He couldn't have been more than 12 to 18 inches from his face when he started saying that.
And not to mention that, during a hand when Jungle Man was thinking, Nick took his chips, put them on Jungle Man's cards. And started ruffling his chips.
That's because earlier on, Jungle Man had done that to him, so Nick was trolling him, so that while he was thinking, he just kept doing it. And it was getting under his skin.
Dude, Jungle Man was tilted.
Oh, epic tilt. Tilt.
I didn't see the part where he knocked Nick's chips over. Was that in jest or was that in frustration?
Both. So you do it in jest, but every time you do it in jest, you're really frustrated, right?
Because I could tell by his demeanor he was getting frustrated.
Yeah, so I literally told everyone, oh my God, I can't believe my plane is taking off. I was pissed. The moment I landed, I get back on, And I go, I just landed. Quick, somebody tell me what happened. And it just went crazy. Everybody was like, Nick Airball has destroyed everybody. So we go out to dinner last night after the most epic meetup game. We're at this Japanese place. And just for you guys don't know, big Texas guys don't do good in small little Japanese places. Oh, poor Barry. Barry was there. Nick Airball was there. Just watching us try to fit in those little tiny little places. It didn't work. And then all of a sudden, there's a lot of people there. The alcohol's flowing.
This was after the meetup game.
After the meetup. There's sushi on sushi. There's food coming all over the place. And all of a sudden, everybody started going, this is going to be really expensive. Who the shit's going to pay for all this, right? And Ryan Feldman's like this. He's rubbing his head like this, right? And all of a sudden, Mike X goes, I think Nick Airball should play it. He won $500,000 at the lodge. He should do that. And then Nick was like, well, all right, but the dinner's not on me. And so then we started videoing. And he's like, who's it on? And he's like, Jungle Man. And so then we started chanting
Jungle Man. So, yeah, it's on Twitter, by the way. Go to Twitter. You can see it.
So that's the Twitter feed that you saw over there. So, and then I actually texted Doug, and I'm like, you're going to get a kick out of this. And Doug was good humor about it. He's like, that's hilarious. That's great. And if you didn't see it, Nick Airball, that guy is so hilarious. He brings to the meetup game a deed.
I saw that, yeah.
And it's a deed that says he now owns the lodge.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's pretty
great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Nick for making things fun, for sure.
Nick definitely did.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, Jungle Man, I've reached out. We've had communications about getting him on the show here and there in the last like 3 or 4 weeks. And he's out of town. He's busy this, and he can't do that. I can't do this day, whatever. And so I wake up this morning, and I have a text, and it says from Jungle Man, I'm back, and I'm ready. I said, I bet you are. We have a lot to talk about. So we're trying to figure out in the next
Is he going to play or just come on the podcast?
He's going to come on the pod. Yeah. He might Skype in. I don't know how he's going to do it. But he did comment on that tweet and says, thanks for the shout out. Yeah. I don't know if you know that. Yeah.
No. I mean, listen, you have to have a good sense of humor about it, because he everybody can go back and watch it and just see how bad he played and how epically tilted he was. And as anybody would, any of us who've ever played with Nick Airball, Nick has tilted every single one of us at one time or another, including you. You and him at times had y'all's little spats. I had my little spats with him too, whatever else. It's never fun playing with Nick Airball when you've got 20,000 in front of you and he looks at you and goes, I'll take 200,000.
Yeah. Most of my beef was just like pricing people out of the Tuesday game with massive, like 4,000 bets on every street just to do it, like with, $1 in the pot. And so we had a lot of players who didn't want to play. And so you can't have that.
I was one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that night. Yeah. You were there. I was
there that night. You in protest sat out the last hour.
I quit the last hour and a half because I thought somebody needed to protect the game. You were super annoyed. But the reason I was is because I had to talk so many times. And then the other thing is there's guys like Nick maybe doesn't care when he's in that spot, but like it's so funny too, because I can remember Nick back in the day, not too long ago, a few years ago, would sit with like 30,000 on the table, and if he was stuck 30,000, he was on monkey tilt. I don't know what has happened, the evolution of his stacks and his whatever, but there'd be someone stuck, $100K. And Nick is just relentlessly firing just shots into their bunker. And the player is physically like, they're trying to hold it together because they're on stream and they don't want to, but they're like physically like pissed. And so those are the only times where it was like, hey, just like just a smidge of social awareness to like let a guy breathe for a second. So, but with that said, Nick and I have no beef. I have no beef with him. I don't know if he does internally or not, but I don't have any beef with him.
I don't think Nick
He's great for our show.
Yeah, I don't think Nick really cares about what people think about him. Nick is
How
just
could
Nick.
you?
Yeah, I just think he just does it. But I mean, you're right. He has no social awareness. But who cares? I mean, if you want entertainment, you want Nick on the show. If you are on the show, you don't want Nick on the show sometimes because you got to be prepared for it. Like last week, the epic troll that blank check Ben was given to him was great. And then we got to the actual show, and guess what? Nick shied away. Nick wasn't really going after him.
Yeah, what was that about?
I mean, it almost seemed like somebody kind of bullied back Nick, and Nick backed down.
Yeah, well, guess
and
you know
Nick,
what happened
I'm just telling
after?
you, Nick, if you're watching this, I don't think it's really cool that, you got bullied by Ben, and then you just kind of back down. Because if you go back and watch that show, you weren't going after him, you weren't raising him, and Ben was still going after you, and you still weren't firing back. So I don't know.
I didn't watch the whole show. Is that true?
It is true. We need a rematch.
Right, you heard what happened after the show?
No.
Oh, wow. You didn't? There's a clip up on Twitter, I believe, and you can only see the last part of the hand where the money's being paid out, because it was after the stream and Ryan only caught the payout and he posted it. Nick and Blank Check Ben went heads up.
Oh,
they went heads up. And this hand, I won't break it down for you perfectly because I didn't watch the hand, but I could just tell you that in the video you see Nick paying out over $400,000 on a river bet. Nick flopped top set of kings. Blank Check had pocket threes. I don't know how they got there from the pre-flop to the flop to the turn. I have no clue because I didn't watch the hand because they don't have the footage. But all I know is the turn went 3 and the river went 3.
Holy shit.
Quads over top full house. And you see Nick physically like steamed when Magic, the Grim Reaper of dealers, he goes, he's counting it. He's leaning over the table. He goes, 400,589. And Nick goes, how much? And he goes, 400,000. And so Nick just has to push almost $500,000 to Blank Check Ben. And so if we could have only had that whole hand on tape, that would have been gold.
So interestingly enough, A, I didn't know that. B, Ben and them weren't talking about it yesterday, but just think about Nick's resilience. He flew out
right
the
after
next
that
morning, went to the lodge, and basically he must have looked at Jungle Man as Ben and just decided he was going to get revenge.
Yeah.
And so Jungle Man, now we know Jungle Man, you were the person who he took it out on.
Yeah, he took the brunt of that hand.
Yeah, he took it all back.
Yeah.
No, that would be good. Yeah, how come you guys never do like a good head, like a night, and just do like a big heads up battle?
I want to, and I've talked to Ryan about this, that we need to find a real good rivalry and get the heads up, put a structure together that's fun to watch, not like something that's a marathon.
Right.
And just do it. And we also want to do like some single table, like buy in for 10 or 20K and pay the top 2 or something, like a single table stuff. So we want to, or just, it's hard because we're so, people don't understand running content of that level 5 days a week for the last year and 8 months. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work on production. It's a lot of hours. And but those are things we need to do. And we're going to do them.
Just to spice it up. Right now, the list even to get on a Max Payne Monday is so long.
Oh, it's long.
The sheer number of people who want to get on and play is amazing. It's just a testament to how well you guys are doing in everything you do. It makes it a lot of fun.
That's why it's a joke when, I talked about it. You maybe saw my video. I got banned from Commerce.
I do.
Yeah. So
because you're over there trying to find players.
I'm trying to recruit day regs.
Yeah, of course.
That are going to sit there and, So, because you go there and, people are like, oh, the show, Nick, hey, how does this, who's this player? How do you get on the show? And without thinking, you just answer because, you don't want to be rude to anyone. And then I show up the next time, and that's it.
Yeah, but everybody knows the truth. Look,
but to your point.
No, the truth is this. Nick was out to Commerce, and he's like, look, the only way I'm going to look like I play hands is if I get a bunch of Commerce regs to come play on the same show as me, then I'm going to look like the crazy player.
I'll look splashy. It's funny you said that because in a couple of games I played there, once or twice, I was the aggressive player. Crazy. And I just go there, not for the action. I go there because, if the family's out and nothing's going on, I want to play 3 or 4 hours of 20-40.
I like that. I was trying to get food.
And I wanted the pork chops, and they fucked me out over, so, but whatever. No loss really here. Whatever. It just saved me from going over there and being macro tilted about how stupid those things are on their table and whatever.
The funny thing is, those guys are your friends too. They've been friends with yours for a long time, and they still did that to you.
35 fucking years I played there. I tip better than anyone. I know everyone, even the guy. I can't remember his name. Big old fat fuck, whatever his name is. Always cool to him, and he was the biggest dick to me. And I'm like, hey, dude, at least as we were walking, I said, can't you just come out of character about this tough guy act? You know me. Even if you have to do this, be nice. And he's like, well, I don't know, too fat. I'm like, okay, whatever. Give me a break. So, yeah, it's just one of those things, man. You just,
Makes them look bad.
I guess.
I don't know if people really care, but still at the same time.
They'll never let me back in all the shit I've been saying about him. But, what was to your point, what made me think of it is we got people waiting around the block to get into our games. We don't need to recruit. No. We literally, Ryan has to turn down so many people every day on every show, and especially Max Payne Monday because it plays well, it's playing bigger now, but it plays like it was our smallest game for a while, and like people want to play it. Right. And we've opened a Thursday game. Do you know that?
I did hear that.
Yeah.
The Thursday game, they're doing another format to it. You know what the reality is that a lot of people like playing on Max Payne Monday or the type of style. And like we like the Andy game. The Andy game's fantastic, but the 5-5-100 that turned into a 5-5-100 300, it's a way bigger game.
The Tuesday Thursday game plays so big. People don't understand that. It doesn't matter about the blinds.
No, it literally does not matter.
Like you can lose a 50-100 ball each night you sit down. You could, not that you will.
Right.
If you're going to take a bad night, you probably lose 30 to 40.
Sure.
You know? Yeah, and that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, and that game, wasn't designed to play like that, but we got a bunch of maniacs. So I had a lot of people contacting me. Hey, because there's a lot of faces you haven't seen in a while, but it's because of either attrition or because the games got too big for them and they can't come on the weekly.
I think it's more so that the games got too big. So look, we all like to play, and we can all play a 25-50 game, which for everybody else is a really big game. But the 25-50 game or a 25-50 game with a Hustler turned into 25-50, 100, 200, 400, every single round.
Yeah.
And you had some of the big players going, okay, well, let's just put a double straddle every time. Well, if you didn't bring the bankroll to play that, or that wasn't the game you signed up for.
You were not happy that night. The night that I said, fuck it, I'm done because no one's protecting this game, that you were pretty upset.
Yeah.
And a lot of players are, but they won't verbalize it on the air because they don't want to be embarrassed. And so a lot of people have been texting me and inboxing me saying that I know that we haven't seen in a while, and I won't mention their names. It's like, hey, dude, like I can't really play anymore. And so I called Ryan and I said, hey, dude, I said, I know we're running a show and I know that what brings views is like big games. Like I get it, but there's a short-term strategy for views and there's a long-term strategy for like health of like the players in the game and like, no less attrition. And so I was shocked because we never agree on anything. Like we're always fighting like a husband and wife. He's the wife and constantly. And he's like, yeah, I think you're right. So we're now dropping, I don't know if it's 10-20 or 10-20-40, whatever it is, with a 5K min and a 20K cap. And it's supposed to be protected where it doesn't turn into like 9 million, 10 million blind, whatever it is. So we'll see.
And the problem with other streams is that they can't get enough regular players. The reason why people cannot compete with Hustler is they don't have the player pool, right? So what they end up getting is they just get the regs who can sit there and play all the time. And that's just not really good content. They might have some good games, but because they're regs, there's no personalities or whatever else. While you guys have a ton of people that want to play, the people who like to watch the personalities. And again, if you are paying attention to Max Payne Monday, it's reality TV. So you are learning about us, you're learning about the players, you're getting involved just like you would reality TV. But then all of a sudden, if some of your favorite players just disappear and they're gone for a month, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, people are speculating. And it's not that they can't afford to play. It's just that the games got too big to have that kind of entertainment. So I think it's a good idea that you guys add the Thursday game just because, you don't need to have all those big games. I do find, it's interesting. I hear a lot of people complain about, like, let's say our commentators, and then they want to compare it.
Ours meaning Hustler or Lodge?
Yeah, Hustlers.
Okay.
And they want to compare them to like Poker Go or some of these other streams. And I'm sitting there going, I've gone back and I've watched a lot of the Poker Go stuff, and while the commentators are good, the games suck. So I don't, and when our guys are doing the commentator, no matter who we got, whether it's Raver, DGAF, Tush, or Bart coming in or whatever else, I find them very entertaining and energetic. And, a lot of times when you're doing the poker streams, it's not always about the poker hands. I don't need always poker content. We want to have them interact with the chat pros and everything else, which is what you're not going to get on Poker Go. And so, they started having those big games again, right? And you started watching the content of that. And if you've watched the content on the new stuff, and then you just turn on our Friday night game, it's no contest.
Yeah.
It's not even close. And you have some of the biggest names of people out there playing, and then you turn on the Friday night at Hustler, and you're just like, how many thousands of people are watching? These games might go to 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It's not the same. And I think that people feel like that you guys are trying to be like the next Poker Go, and I would say no, Poker Go is trying to figure out how the hell they can compete with Hustler.
Well, you see now they're putting stuff up a few days free recently too, right?
No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so their first 2 days of the $1 million buy-in, which was not a $1 million buy-in, no troll, but it wasn't. It was, you could add 500 after a certain time, but whatever. That's not my point. They did the first 2 days free, and then you had to pay for the third day. But to your point, look, this is the craziest dichotomy that I've ever seen when people start talking about this. It's a very small percentage of people that just pick apart things. Here's the thing. We, from the beginning, decided to be who we were. Okay, like we decided that, like, look, there's nothing. Poker Go puts on a great product. We're friends with them, and this is all like just my opinion on some things. They have a different type of format, and if that format is for you as a viewer, and you're willing to pay behind a paywall, which is fine too, and you want a quiet game with commentators that are really breaking down the hands and are talking kind of in that librarian voice. And again, these guys are the GOATs. Like, they're great. Yeah. They're great poker commentators. There's no troll here. But what you get at Hustler, which was what we were looking for, is we didn't build a studio on purpose that would be soundproof and that would be like in its own like other room. We wanted you to see the casino. We, at times when the casino's rocking and they have some special thing and they're drinking,
right,
it gets really loud, and our floor men have to go, hey guys, we're running a show. Can you just a little bit? But to that point, like me personally, if I watch another show, and I won't mention any other names, and there's not that kind of like energy, it bores me. I'm used to this type of energy, and like our commentators, they're great. Like Billy DeGaff is, his style is for our show. He's amazingly dry, funny. He knows exactly how to pitch it. Bart's a little different, but he's so good. Tuckman's amazing. Mark Goon. And I'll tell you what, I commentated 2 Fridays ago, and I probably had the best time of my life in that Friday game. It was so wild, so crazy. So many sick things happened. And so I think the people are tuning in. And by the way, you know this, they're getting good poker too.
Yes,
like this
absolutely.
is poker. You're watching poker, but you're also being entertained with the characters. And that was another thing from the beginning. It's like, we want to build characters. We want to build followings. Like there's the villains, there's the favorites, there's the rivalries, there's this. I mean, it is a poker reality show, but that's why you can watch it 5 days a week. And some of these people stay in there for 6 hours straight. And at the meetup game and everywhere I go, they're like, thank you for doing this. Like, I so look forward to coming home from work, and after I eat, I just turn this on and I'm on the edge of my seat, and sometimes I'm laughing and sometimes I'm pissed off at somebody. Just, this is so amazing. So it's like everyone has their niche, and we just all do it, and whatever you like, go watch that.
So, I was there watching when you were doing the commentating, and everybody in the chat was very nice to you, and they thought you were doing a great job.
Yeah.
Do you find it ironic how, only 4 months ago, people were calling you just one of the worst things? Not only were you Vertucci and one of the worst players, but then with all the scandal going on, they wanted to destroy your life and everything else, to all of a sudden people have come full circle to go, hey, leave fucking Nick alone. Nick's a nice fucking guy.
Well, here's what I think.
And support you.
And here's what I think happened, and I have very much noticed it, and I very much appreciate it. I'm actually very fond of our HCL family now. Like when it first started, obviously I have a style that probably wasn't optimal for some people. This is what I've heard more than once, and you could tell me the story about the lady yesterday. I have a polarizing personality where I come across as kind of a dick or a douchebag, and because I'm friends with a lot of players, we troll, and I'm very good at trolling, but I could go really low too. So like I look like I'm being mean. Like people still can't understand the ludicrous thing. They don't understand we're friends. They don't understand he actually enjoys it. He loves when I commentate because he knows I'm gonna fuck him up. And so, but I think over time they have seen from this podcast and from other interactions that I'm not that person, to a point of where you're going to tell a story about that in a minute. And so there has been, and then at first I was a little thin-skinned to the trolling. Now I'm not. I lean into it. I am Vertucci. I'm good with it. And I think now they're like, they respect that. And I noticed that on Friday and lately, like I'm jiving with these guys. Like I like them. I'm answering. I go into the chat even when I'm not playing or there, and I interact with them. I answer questions because that's what I would want.
But you have to, Nick. So no matter what we do, there's always going to be people that find fault in what we do.
Yeah. You
call them trolls or whatever else, and I get them. Everybody else gets them. And one of the things that I try to do is every time somebody says something negative about me, I respond to that person directly. And I tell them, you know what, you're right. I did do this. You're right. This is exactly what I am. I'll try to do better, blah, blah, blah. literally every time they go, no, man, you're good. I really appreciate you reaching out to me. I'm just trolling you and whatever else, which is fine. So we go out, we have dinner, and we're sitting there and we're talking about the meetup game and stuff like that. And then your name comes up, and this woman is sitting there, and she goes to Hustler all the time. She's taking pictures with people. She plays at Hustler all the time. And she goes, oh my God, Nick Vertucci, is he not the most fakest person you've ever met in your life?
Yeah.
And I go, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, Nick's the most genuine person you've ever met. She's like, no, Nick comes across as one of the most fakest people. And I go, that's because you don't know him. You haven't met him. If you knew him, you would know that he is so genuine in everything he does. He's direct. He's honest. He's going to give it to you. It may come across that way, but it's not that way. So then yesterday, this morning, I wake up and I'm going on Instagram, and I saw that same person, and she's got an Instagram post, and there's all these pictures, and who's right there in the front? Nick Vertucci and her.
Well, I didn't know this story till today. You told me before we went live, and you're like, oh, she's just this little. And I go, wait a minute, was she wearing black and red, and she carried this red bag?
She was wearing Max
Payne and all that, and I'm like, oh my God. I said, that lady came up to me and like goes, hi, Nick, I'm such a fan. Can we take a picture? And I'm like, of course. And I held her. We took a picture. I talked to her. How could that have been possible?
Because the night before, I put her in her place and let her know, look, I don't mean that in a derogatory way, just that I stood up for you because it was
told
just
her
like
what you knew.
Right. And it was just, and I get it when people don't know who you are and they only see the personality side. And then they get to meet you in person, or they get to find out who you are, or they meet your wife, or they meet the family, and they're like, oh, this is a real person.
Yeah, that's the way it is. And I'll tell you, like I said redundantly, a lot of things got under my skin at the beginning because I didn't understand it, but now you could pretty much say anything. There's 2 or 3 things you cannot say to me. I'm not even going to say what they are because I don't want to give it. Right. I don't want to give it air.
No, you can't.
No, I won't.
Everybody will do it.
There's 2 or 3 things that you can't say to me or type, and they're nasty and they're false. If you do that, you're out of the chat for life. I don't even ask any questions. I just boot you. Right. But other than that, it's King's X. You can just tear me apart. I don't care. And it doesn't bother me. And you would know because I'm not able to fake it, right? But no, they have been amazing. I actually really have a real fondness for our viewers and our fans, and I really mean that. And we had 5,000 likes that night that I commentated. It was really an epic night.
Which is really hard because on most nights you might get 750 to 1,500 likes. So to get that many likes is very, very difficult. But going back to the trolling and being able to embrace it, Nick, which you did, because you did not do that at first at all. You were just you were acting like a little bitch. You really were, because people.
Speaking of bitches, should I put Ryan on speaker because he was just calling me?
Oh, absolutely, should put him on speaker.
We'll put him live, but I will have to tell him that we're here because I don't want him to say any private shit. But
I think that would be great. We should start off with good.
It's so funny you talked about bitches and then he called.
I know it is.
Yeah.
Hey Ryan, you're on speaker. I'm with DQ doing a podcast. We're actually live. What's up?
Oh, no, I was going to talk to you about the other stuff. But yeah, we'll talk about that.
No, that's fine. It was kind of ironic. We were talking about little bitches and stuff like
then
that.
You called.
And then you called. And Nick was like, how ironic.
Well, we're recording, but I'm not going to cut this out.
Oh, okay.
All right. I know what you want to talk about. We'll talk about it later. Hey, listen, lean into your sexuality, bro. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later.
God damn it. Did you get unstuck in the meetup game?
No, I was stuck like a piece of pork.
Yeah, you missed the coolest dinner ever because you wanted to grind.
No, I didn't want to grind. I just didn't feel like going. I wasn't hungry. But once I saw the videos, I knew I made a big mistake.
I'm sure if you were up 2K, you would have been hungry.
Yeah, no.
That's very true.
No, that's probably
until
true.
he tried to fit into the Japanese restaurant that we couldn't sit down.
We had 25, 30 people there.
I know. I heard about it. I saw the video, too, where you guys trolled Jungle Man.
Oh, yeah, because the whole time, people kept joking about who's going to pay or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, Nick, I don't even know who started that, but they're like, oh, Nick Airball's paying, cool. And then we're like, actually, Jungle Man's paying, kind of.
Yeah. It was cool. He texted me today and wants to come on the podcast, so I'm sure he has a lot to talk about.
Who's that, Jungle or Nick?
Jungle.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Jungle's very interesting. That'll be that'll be good. And him and Nick are becoming best friends, even though they're fun rivals.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad that it's that way.
They're going to dinner today. Yeah.
Oh, they are?
Oh, wow.
I didn't even know Jungle's in town.
Jungle's paying either way, I guess, huh?
Yeah. It's funny because on stream, Nick just attacks him, but then they're actually friends. And I don't know. It's an interesting.
Well, he was legitimately tilted at the table, but I'm glad they're friends.
No, yeah. He's ever since like the first time when Nick was just like going after him, being like, "I'm the king of LA, you're whatever pussy, whatever." He Nick, like Jungle never really got like offended or anything. He kind of found the humor in all of it, and he likes Nick for it.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, that's good for everyone. All right, I'll call you. I'll call you later. Bye.
Okay, bye.
All right.
You know what? It's almost a shame that he told everyone that they're friends off air.
I know.
Because it would have been even better if you had Jungle Man on the podcast, didn't tell Jungle Man, and then had Nick just sitting here waiting to fire off at him.
That's so good.
That would have been so great. But just hearing that they're friends kind of takes a little bit of the fun out of all that drama and so forth.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hold on. Let me respond to this.
Struggling to find an all-in-one platform for the latest poker news and thrilling poker stories? Only Poker has got you covered. The platform is packed with exciting poker news, discussions, and games that you won't be able to resist. Share your thoughts with friends on the hottest poker topics in our circle. Discover the best poker games anytime, anywhere, and secure your seat at the table. Find all your poker needs in one place. Download Only Poker and join the best poker community today.
So I think, while you respond to that when people are looking at trolling and having fun with it, and how I appreciate that you've embraced it and others have, it's where the Phil Hellmuth and the Mike Mattishows and people like that who can't embrace it, they can't appreciate that the more we know it gets under your skin, the more we do it.
Yeah, no,
right?
that's
and that if they were somehow able to fully embrace it and not let it get under their skin, like I know that Phil tries to make it look like that he does, but then he clearly bothers him because he has these epic blow-ups and whatever else. And that's why, Eric and everybody else can just get under their skin.
Oh, my God. All he has to do is just act like it doesn't bother him and then stop talking about himself. And literally, people will just respect what he has done for poker, and that would all go away. Now, it wouldn't all go away, but it wouldn't be even close to what it is. But honestly, he can't help himself.
No, he cannot.
He really can't. So,
and in his mind, he really feels justified.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I've tried telling. I've told him personally. I've said it in a video I made about him. I've texted him about it. He doesn't get it.
No, not even close.
That's all right.
I was going to troll him today. I was actually going to bring a jacket and wear it half on and half off.
Oh,
and just sit there and troll him.
Yeah.
And then I forgot at the
Did you see me troll him when he did that?
Of course I did. That's why I was going to do it.
I'm like, what are you, like a relief pitcher or what? Are you going in the ninth? What do you do? Why are you wearing a jacket?
So let's go back and talk about this.
No, he was irritated that I trolled him. I'm like, dude, that's a joke. And then I did it again. I said, is your elbow warm yet? And he just blew right over it. So go watch that episode with Phil Hellmuth. I open it by saying, how do you like or how does it feel getting your ass kicked on High Stakes Week?
Oh, my God. It was epic. So I'd love to see Hustler do another big week, not just the $1 million one that y'all are going to do, but another one where you can get, some more of the personalities. That one that y'all did with Beast and Alexandria and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was epic.
That was so epically fun to have people that don't necessarily play a lot of poker, although we all found out quickly that Alexandria actually plays poker.
Well, she wins when she plays, so she must know what she's doing.
And she's actually come back and played at Hustler and stuff like that. Well, and she was playing at the side down there, not on stream, big ass games and winning.
Dude, I mean, if you're really a crusher in chess, you must be smart enough to figure out poker, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Wait, what was I going to say? Oh, are you aware of what we're doing around the $1 million buy-in game?
No, I haven't heard anything.
Okay, so I'll make it really quick because I said it on the last podcast, so I'll say it again because by the time this is out, it'll be common public knowledge. We have inked a deal with a production company and investors, and we are making the first of its kind poker documentary, and it is going to be about the $1 million game. From right now, we're already there at dinner. One of the producers was there, and you probably
I saw him.
You know who he was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. His name's Patrick.
Yep.
And we already shot footage, and we're going to be doing just like the behind the scenes of building the $1 million game all the way through until the game starts.
That'll be really cool.
And all the characters, all the personalities, all the cancels, who's bringing money, who this, my story, Ryan's story. So it's going to be pretty cool.
That's going to be very cool. It's going to be a really cool documentary that'll that something you'd watch on cable or whatever else.
Well, that's the thing. It's not gonna be the poker game. We're not showing poker. We might show a few hands,
right?
But it's going to be like a reality. Like you see the shows Flip This House,
sure,
and it's the lead up to trying to get the contractor getting it done, making a profit, and then at the end, haha, we did it.
So have you already figured out who all is playing? Have you announced that yet?
No, we're not going to announce it yet. There's a bunch of names that are in the hat, but because Ryan needs to figure out, because in poker there's politics, right? Especially if you're putting $1 million on the table. Like if this guy plays, this guy won't play.
Right.
If this guy doesn't play, this guy won't play. So he's trying to figure out the formula, and at the same time putting together a lineup that is going to be like epic, right?
Yeah, because you got to have a lineup of people who will actually play hands and so forth.
Yeah, we're working on it.
And it's interesting because I do watch in the chat, out of all the speculation, the people that are speculating who's going to play, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, you are definitely one of the people who's not in speculation.
Bang, bang. Bang, bang, DQ. Bang, bang. You're planning on playing tonight?
Yeah, I'm playing tonight.
Yeah, good luck.
I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna just make a call.
Go ahead.
No, I would never. You're more important than I am. You're more valuable than me.
Here's what I know. No one wants to see me play real poker. I'm very good at playing poker. You do not want to see me play real poker. It was boring TV.
I understand.
It is very boring TV.
I understand. No, I get it. I get it. You're speaking to the choir.
However, I would just love for Hustler to make an executive decision that going forward, it actually helps both of us if they don't ever have VPIP ever again. It helps you because no one knows, and then it helps me.
Put a note in the suggestion box.
I put the note in there every single day for a year.
I've never asked for that because whatever, but I don't care. But I think it would. I don't know if that would be plus or minus EV for people because they love it so much. But at the same time, it's so distracting, right?
Yes. It's a very good troll.
It's distracting. I mean, it's costing you thousands.
No, hundreds of thousands. Yeah, no, not thousands.
It's costing
I could do a lot more giveaways, Hustler, if you get rid of the fucking VPIP. How's that shit? Mm-hmm. You know how many chat pros I could bring out if I didn't have to worry about that shit?
Okay, well, I'll run it up.
I mean, for me, if I'm playing a good game, my VPIP is somewhere around 50%. That's when I'm playing conservative.
50?
50.
Oh, shit.
50. And then when Billy's on the stream, Billy's got to pop off. Oh, I always win the VPIP. Well, not tonight, you're not.
Oh, I know. I mean, I've watched you in action. Oh, ask Ryan. What's my VPIP? What's Billy's? What's my? I'm like, oh my god! How about fucking win a hand?
I can't help it. You talk about like rivalries and who wants to play or whatever else.
Yeah.
You know who doesn't want to play me? Billy. He loves playing me on stream.
Oh.
Lately, this is to you, Billy.
You've been owning him?
I'm gonna fucking troll your ass. Billy is the person who stays till 4, 5, 6 in the morning. He's the last guy to leave. He trolls you if you want to leave early, but then you play against DQ after the stream. He destroys you like most players can't be destroyed.
He's a bitch.
He's definitely. And then all of a sudden, he won't. So like the last stream in Modest, I was here, Billy had the epic win. He's up like 50, 60,000, right? I'm down 22. After stream, I don't know, I think I took 10 or 15,000 off Billy, and all of a sudden Billy's like, hey, listen guys, I'm going to have to go. I got to get up early or whatever else. And we're like, what the shit? He leaves. And then at like 3 o'clock in the morning, he's texting people. And I'm like, oh, I thought you had to go to sleep and you had a big day tomorrow, whatever else. You pussy. That's what it was.
That's right. You're so macho for a guy. Like, there's a lot of the people may not know you're gay, yes?
Yes, completely.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is for your husband? That
is absolutely correct.
Okay.
I mean,
a lot of people,
unlike other people,
listen, a lot of people don't know that.
I will suck a dick for buy-ins. Just so other people lie about it, I will.
I mean, whatever. No pun, but lean into who you are. Lean into it, bro.
Brokeback was made on
I'm
me.
telling you, like they think we're trolling, but you are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
so, do you have growing up or now or any time like a poker player that you admire the most that like was like, wow, that's the guy?
So when
or girl.
Yeah, true. So actually, for me, growing up, it was Gus Hansen.
Ah.
When I used to watch Gus Hansen, the Danish guy, that guy was the craziest, most reckless poker player I ever saw. And I watched him wreak havoc on people on TV like everyone else.
They didn't understand it then.
They didn't at all. And so I think I pretty much modeled the way I play around a lot of what he did. And then I talk a lot, and I realize the chatters don't always want to hear me talk because I can't shut up. But by Daniel Negreanu, I love watching Daniel. I love watching him play poker. I love watching him talk to people. He's a fucking genuine guy.
I love that guy.
And the fact, and he's sitting there talking to you, and then what you don't realize is because you're stupid, he's talking to you not because he really cares a lot about you, but you're going to give away your hand or what you have, and you don't even realize it. And he's so good at that. that I just like the fact that he's having conversational. So part of what I do
when
I travel
he's fun
around,
to watch.
Yes. So I wanted to be fun to watch. I wanted to be a poker ambassador. I go around, I try to have positivity. I won't play at tables if people are degrading women, if people are degrading dealers and whatever else. I won't tolerate it. I'll have them removed from the table.
Same.
I want people to be positive at all times, have a good time, take the money that you can win with. And so when we played that meetup game yesterday, I played for almost 7 hours, and I played every single hand blind because I wanted everybody to have the experience. I wanted them to have fun.
Right.
And those tables were yelling. They were screaming. They had a blast. And I didn't care that I was losing money. It wasn't about the money. It was about showing people a really good time. And that's what I like to do. I like to travel around the country. I like to have a good time. It's the reason why I don't monetize it. It's the reason why I don't sports bet. You know, if somebody once told me, you only sports bet if you hate sports. Because once you start sports betting, you never watch the game the same way.
You hate them,
And when you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you're never going to win anyways. So sports betting just takes all the fun out of it. So I do the same thing with my stuff. I don't monetize it because I don't want to turn it into a business. I want to have fun. I want people to go out there and jokingly talk about Max Payne and running it once and whatever else, just because it's something fun to do, not because DQ's out there trying to make money, because I'm not.
Yeah, and being a Bears fan, you're not going to get any sympathy from me about your Cowboys, so just go suck it. All right, so biggest pot you've ever been in, biggest loss, biggest win in poker.
So the biggest loss I had was last year, and that was at Bellagio and Bobby's room.
Yep.
And I lost a $237,000 hand with pocket aces.
Yeah, that's usually how it happens.
Yeah, pretty much. And the guy that ended up winning, 4 people called the all-in, which is phenomenal. And the guy that ended up winning Super Whale net worth way north of 100
Suited
million.
connector?
10-7.
Suited?
Yeah, suited. And he had to call his last 78,000, and he said, fuck it.
A little,
Just like
suited,
that.
little suited double gapper got the aces, huh?
Got the 7 on the flop and a 10 on the river.
Oh,
and
nice.
And Freddie Deeb was there, and Freddie Deeb was sitting there filming it. And he's like, holy shit. And I go, God damn it. And Freddie goes, DQ, let me send this to you. You should see your face. Oh, my God, you were so disappointed.
Why don't
Freddie,
you send us that?
seconds.
We'll post it.
Yeah, no. And I said, no, thanks. And I go, Freddie, give me a couple seconds. He goes, why? This was so great. I go, Freddie, just give me a couple of seconds.
Minute, right?
And he goes, no, I'm not. I go, fuck it, just keep going, Freddie. I'm just like, now I'm a little tilted.
Yeah.
You know, everybody tries
just
not
need
to.
a little cooling off period, right?
Yeah, and then I had a really cool hand playing a double board bomb pot on TCH. And it was just a double board, and I won maybe 57,000 on that one, and that was early on when I was doing the live streams and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and had a lot of fun doing that. I've won a lot of home games, 60, 70, 80, 90,000, but I've never had a 6-figure win. Never.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I've had a 6-figure loss. Thank you, TCH Dallas.
Yeah.
Had a
shout out.
Yeah,
all right. Last one of my last questions. Do you have anything to say or your thoughts, or what did you think about the Jack 4 hand? What do you think about what really happened, and what were your thoughts about what happened after?
Yeah, so I got asked about 500 times. I got people asking me if I would come on and talk about it. I refused everybody. I didn't want to talk about that. My personal opinion was she didn't cheat. I still contend that she didn't cheat. I think that she was a player who wanted to make a name for herself. And I think that she just made a call that went bad, and then she felt kind of silly about it and decided that she was going to start making stuff up without knowing fully what she said. And since I have seen plays like that in home games all the time, we just never seen it on a live stream. And so while I had to watch Doug Polk and I had to watch Joey and everybody else just epically come out and say this stuff, I was trolling Doug. To his face, I said, wow, so you got her coming out to play at the lodge? And I go, yeah. And I go, hey, Joey, I think that you need to have a fireside chat with Doug and her just sitting there. And the first question you should say is, how do you feel coming out to play with a guy who just last week still tweeted that he still thinks you probably cheated?
Isn't that something?
And yet she still shows up to play and whatever else. And I think that people feel that way because they just can't fathom the fact that somebody didn't cheat. So when everybody asked me, I said, look, I've been there. I've seen this or whatever else. We've never had our phones. We don't do this. I personally don't believe it. And as I told everyone, unless the guy that was fired ever comes out and says, I did this, there's no way ever that there's really no proof. There's just a bunch of weird stuff. And then to watch. He would
have collected the $300K bounty if he did it. I believe so.
I believe he would have too. Because when people put that much money out there,
he was screwed anyways.
No matter what. So absolutely.
Yeah.
But then when I watched them starting to see hurt people that I know, that I like, when they were starting to come after, good poker players and people that played on Hustler, they were coming after you. They were every conspiracy theory. I mean, my favorite is that when you sit down and tap your arm like this, that's a sign of cheating. all of those things really started bothering me. So when you and others were on Joey Ingram's show, I started super chatting over there just to make the point, guys, stop this. This is ridiculous. And it wasn't Joey. Joey was just providing the forum. But the people that he was having on were leading these conspiracy theories so much so that even when you think it dies, whatever it was a week or two ago, some other idiot who goes by Poker Karen is coming out here and going, hey, is it a coincidence here that Nick all of a sudden is losing now that this has happened and they fired this guy and they want to do stories about it? And I'm just like, look, stop your shit. I mean, it's almost like I don't know if they want to get content. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I would love to know the
you know what it is.
The motivation.
People who are successful, people want to bring you down, right?
Yeah.
People they love your success and then they want to watch you fall because everybody likes a good villain. But at some point in time, you just got to kind of back off and just kind of say, look, everybody's got lives, they've got families. There's nothing in it for you to be a part of it and to be cheating or whatever else. There's literally nothing in it for you.
Yeah, it was sad, everything that happened. And I've never said this, but I'll say it now. The how you view the Jack 4 hand is how I view it, but I've always stayed neutral to not say I think so, not think so, whatever, because that's how I had to be. But now that this is so far in the rear view mirror, exactly what you said about the hand is what I believe. Yeah. And not because it's my show, and because, if we would have come out with something, I would have brought it out. I would have. We would have survived. I would have brought it out. That just has to. You can't hold that information and then and that comes out that you did. You're just drawn dead. You're done. And so we would have brought it out. There was nothing. We found nothing. And until there is something, that's I believe what you believe.
Well, plus you also not only did the investigation. You brought Doug Polk into the room. You brought other people into the control room. You let other people see and be behind the scenes, whether it was Berkey or whatever else, and ask all the questions that they needed to ask, look into it, etc. And there was still nothing. Now it should be just a blip on the radar. But you know what? This woman has now become super famous. She's become super famous as a average poker player who was playing small stakes a year ago to now being invited to the biggest games. And she's got a hand named after her. She's not Doyle Brunson, right? Yeah. And now she's got a hand permanently named after her. That's pretty cool.
It's pretty crazy.
That's pretty cool.
And, a couple points to to even hit on that people are... It's so amazing that, I don't know if these guys get the same thing, but you hear after the Jack 4 hand and you hear it now, especially when I was, really sun running and winning and having, a great, run. You hear people say, the owner shouldn't be in a show, shouldn't play, shouldn't do this. Well, every person who's ever had a private game plays in their own show. And I often wondered why, JJ and Wayne never took any heat. I've often wondered why, Doug Polk and Andrew Nemi and what's the other cat?
Brad Owens.
Brad Owens. Yeah, sorry, I just couldn't think of it. Yeah. Why these guys, it's the same shit.
Right.
And I don't know if anyone realizes this because he's not as polarizing and he's not in the media like I am because of the Jack 4 scandal. But I believe right now, is it Brad Owen that's on the downturn, the downswing?
$250,000.
And $250,000, and I think it's 10 in a row or
10 or 11.
11 or 13 or whatever it is. And it's it happens. What people don't understand now that are out there now saying stupid shit about now you can't do anything nefarious because there's too much security. No, it's called, I even talked to Doug Polk and he's like, dude, there's the best players in the world go on 20 to 50 buy-in downturns.
10 or 11 is nothing.
It's nothing. Normal. It's nothing. And, I've had to understand that because I just became a regular, 2 years ago. And so I didn't know that either. But it's just kind of amazing that it's like that. But it is what it is, and it's it kept everyone really busy for a while. It's unfortunately a lot of people were hurt over it, but it's in the rear view now, and
well, hopefully it is. I mean, people keep trying to bring it up, but they need to leave it in the rear view because it's nothing.
Well, like I mentioned in my last podcast I did with Valerie, that Alan Kessler kept DMing a bunch of people in the industry that have big pens like writers and saying you should do a story on Vertucci because now he can't win, it's got to be this. And actually it's funny because a couple of people that he contacted responded back and said, you're stupid. And the reason you are is because if you look at the stats after the Jack 4 hand when Brian was there, this is how many he won and lost, and then after he left, and it's almost the same for the amount of hands, right? And so there's no story here. And then so he moved the goalpost and he says, well, maybe it's because now the security's tighter. And the guy's like, dude, let it go. What is your problem? And if one guy posts it, like you mentioned, I don't even mention their names. Alan I will, just because he's I don't know why, but the other one I don't mention. But it's I think one mentions it and then the others jump on the bandwagon and go, yes, that's it, and they all start going crazy again. But honestly, it really doesn't matter. They're pathetic.
But it's poker content, it's clicks. I mean, I'm not a betting man. But if I was, I would say that he's the poker Karen. That's just
Who?
my hunch. Alan.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he is.
I know who it is.
And I think that
People don't understand that I know who it is.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that person... anyways, I don't want to talk about that weirdo.
Yeah, and I think that with everything else, look, I don't mind all the other shows talking about the negativity or whatever else because it's poker content. At least they're talking about poker, right?
Yeah.
Jerry Jones said it once famous that even bad news and bad publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
And so you can't help it. I like watching Berkey Show. I watch it all the time. I watch the guys. I like to watch the contents and things. I don't always have to agree. It doesn't matter. I just like hearing different viewpoints, et cetera. In fact, I like hearing the viewpoints and then going, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Like I don't do this, that, or the other. They did one about the lodge and about security after one of the players got robbed, and I'm like,
yeah,
why didn't you guys call me? Like I'm this guy, and they go, oh well, we heard from
then
somebody
that would
else.
be too easy.
Yeah, I know.
Right, because then there's no content, right?
Correct, right.
But I will say this: people will be shocked to hear me say this. I don't like this part. They know I don't like Matt Berkey. He doesn't like me. That's fair. That's no problem. We have different styles. He doesn't like mine. I do not like his. But I will say this: I do believe that he was in pursuit of the truth. I do believe he wanted to make things better, and that was his whole point. Just because his delivery was way off. What I would have thought would have been fair. I do believe that was his intention. He's never went personal. I think he does a good show. And I don't really care for those guys, but they do a good show. And you want to know the truth? I hope they win Podcast of the Year. I don't even care. Like,
I think they will.
I don't want any more beef.
Right.
I don't want to. I'm never going to come on here and say, "Oh, I like him" or whatever. I don't. But I really don't want any beef with him, and I don't wish any of those guys harm.
It's
and they run a good show.
Yeah, they do. But it's different for you because for you it's personal, right? So for me, I have no personal.
Oh no, that's the only reason.
Yeah,
of course, yeah.
Right.
I think
like
what you said is fair. They run a good show. You enjoy it.
Yeah, and I like Matt, and I like the people that are on there that I know.
Yeah.
And Landon and stuff like that, and I've met them. I've played with them, and I like them. And for me, I think they're good people. Just like when people say that they don't know you, or they say things about you, I'm like, well, you don't know them. You know, the people that I have met. No one has ever come after me. No one has ever been mean about me. We can all joke about me punting and my skills and everything else. I got a fantastic leg for this shit. So I never have to take it personal. I'm not in the crosshairs.
No, totally.
And that way I can be friends with everybody. And I enjoy it, but I could easily understand how,
as
if
you
you're in
should,
crosshairs, where people would take it personal, et cetera. Yeah. And that's unfortunate. But,
well,
but that's great about poker, though.
And
we have to have all these different venues, Nick. We have to have all these different areas come together.
Yeah.
And I must admit that during the Jack 4 incident, I watched more poker content at that time than I had in my entire life combined. I think I was watching Joey shit for like 7-8 hours. I went to sleep. I woke up. The shit was still on. I had it in my office. Then I flipped it over to OnlyFriends. Then I was watching Doug shit over here. And then what I thought was cool was you came on and addressed it. I'm like, man, see, that's character right there. You actually came in, hit it head on. You talked about it. Yeah. That's shit that other people don't do, Nick. That's what makes you special. I do believe that. I'm not pandering to you. I don't want you to get a hard on over that shit.
No,
Somebody saying
even
nice
though I know
about
how
you,
you go,
true.
how you go. I'm not into that.
Yeah.
But I like you a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just to even go further with it, like Joey's a good guy, and I like him. What I didn't like is the people that came onto a show that said the conspiracies. I don't think they should have been allowed to do that because they hurt a lot of people. But I understand it's a business, and I understand why Joey had him on. And even for Doug, he has his opinion on Robbie. He still does, but he was very fair to us, and even Matt too. Like I lashed out at him because of his style and a couple things he did with my employees. But I will say, being fair, that he never accused anyone of anything directly, and I don't even think he did subtly, and so he had every right to do it. I just took it personal because we were all getting hurt, and it was what it was. So
the people that were hurting, I don't
him.
think came so much from the Berkey Show as it came from the people who were being brought on by Joey's show, who were doing the conspiracies. It wasn't Joey; he was bringing people on, and they were creating their own conspiracies. They were going after the players, trying to find out, oh, you're being backed, or you're this. You need to release a list of all your backers. Really, I mean, you don't go through and try to out people, or you don't go through and go to companies and say, well, who is doing this, that, or the other for your company, and yet they were trying to hurt people, and that part just got disgusting. Yeah. And watching friends of mine get hurt, and go broke because they couldn't get invited back to games, or they couldn't do this, that, or the other. That shit was just wrong. And you know what? That's the seedy side of poker. That's the stuff that everybody thinks about. Yeah. And that's unfortunate side of it. Yeah. And I think that you guys have done a good job of moving past it. And so think about this: as nasty as that was, as scandal as it was, look at where you are today. Like you're bigger, better, stronger than you guys ever were before. You're more popular than you ever were.
That's true.
You know, you can turn on a live stream and there's 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 18,000 viewers.
Right.
And then the very next day, there's over 100K views in less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I think you guys came out of it just fine.
Yeah, we did. And you know, life experience is something. Like in business, I have so much of it, personal things with personal people I do, but I've never experienced a situation like this. And so I hit the ground running totally organically on this. If this same thing happened again, I would still go on Joey's, but I would handle it totally different. My demeanor would be different. I wouldn't have attacked Matt. I wouldn't have done this, but I didn't know how to handle it because I was so offended by some of the delivery systems and some of the things that were being said about my people. But if I had to do it again and it happened again, I would really handle it different. It's just a life experience. So whatever on that.
So, I got a question. So one thing that people ask all the time that no one really is able to ever address, is Garrett coming back? Because he's still a fan favorite, but is he able to? Is he not able? I mean, not that they would have him.
Sure.
But I mean, is he able to go back into the limelight on live streams again after all this?
When you say live streams, or you mean my show?
Forget your show. He's always welcome back
He
here.
can do whatever he wants.
But I just meant, well, he's not played anywhere. No one's ever seen him.
I haven't had any
communication.
I don't know. I haven't had any communication with Garrett. I don't know what his life plan is or his poker plan is.
He did tweet, by the way. I saw a tweet that he might be willing to come back for the $1 million game.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to make it.
Damn.
He's not. We're not. I don't think he's going to have a seat.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know if he's going to be on other streams right now. You know, Ryan and I are leaning away from that controversy. Not personal. You know, like there's two people in that situation, and somehow one is right and one is wrong.
Right.
We still don't know who. We have our thoughts and we have our opinions, but until there's absolute whatever, you know, you're innocent.
Right,
you're innocent until proven guilty,
but
right?
One is flourishing and the other one is still in hiding.
Yeah, well, I don't know what you call it, but right. But the point is everyone made their own decisions. He made his own decisions. He handled things how he handled it, pre, post, and post-flop and whatever. So, you know, everyone's got to live with it. Ryan and I don't discuss it. We're just focused on building big games, building this documentary, keeping ahead of the game, and just putting on the best poker that we can. That's honestly a true answer. It's not a political answer. I can't put myself in his
shoes because I've never been in a position to where I felt somebody was cheating me, to where I could, you know, that I could have those kind of feelings that he had, right? I can only imagine that if I ever felt that way, especially for such a big hand, I probably would have similar feelings, but I've never been there, so I can't put myself in their shoes. Yeah. And guess what? 90% probably the poker players cannot put themselves in those shoes to where they could feel what he went through. So, you know, we'll probably never know the truth behind it.
No.
But, you know, there's a lot of lives affected.
I've said this before pretty tenderly, or what's it called, gently, but I'm just going to say it. And this is how I feel. Preface. I like Garrett. Preface. I wish him the best. Preface. I think he's a good person. Okay. Now, end the preface. How I feel about it is, in the moment, I don't blame him a bit for feeling how he felt. I don't blame him a bit for how he handled it, because sometimes a knee-jerk reaction, even like I said, like when this happened to me, this thing, I would change it. I don't fault him for that. What I didn't appreciate was leaning way into it even after this was over, because when you say, I know for sure that this guy did this, when you don't, and then that's a reflection on me and Ryan, who were very good to you. And if you have the proof, bring it out. Right. Would you not think it would be out 100%. By now? Okay.
Yeah, of course it would.
So if you have it, great, because we want it too, and we want to resurrect this situation. But if you don't, and you keep implying something you don't have proof for, you are basically, even though he came out and said, oh, I think Nick and Ryan, what she did, are good, and they're not involved in anything, and I appreciate that. But he still caused us a lot of grief by something that he does not know for sure, and that's his right. Yeah. But the consequences for that are what they are. He's not playing poker. He did have a cherry patch. Was making a lot of money. He was a favorite. He was the golden boy. That is all no longer the case. He'll probably come back and he'll probably crush somewhere or whatever he's going to do. But that's the part that I take whatever with is that, like, look, you put us in a tougher situation without proof, and you can say one thing out of the side of your mouth about how much you trust us, and I know he means that. And I'm going to be honest with you, he has stuck up for me in other cases where I've been getting hammered for other things even before this. He was a friend, he is a friend, and he still is. And so I could say this truth and still mean it, that I wish him the best and I consider him a friend, and I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's a great person and he's got a great heart. But I don't like how it was handled, and I think he did him, and this is okay because this is his choice, but I think he did himself a huge disservice personally for how he handled it. But now, if on principle that's how he feels and that's his decision, he has a right to it.
But you know what? So imagine this. Imagine when Garrett comes back out, right? When he comes out and he's ready to start playing again, how is he going to be able to handle the pressure? Because no matter where he goes, the trolling is going to be so massive. And let's face it, if you are playing poker against Garrett and you go like this, and you see Jack 4, what's the first thought going through your mind? I want to fucking stack that guy with Jack 4.
Yeah.
So you know what? He's got to even think about that whenever he comes back out and is ready to play again, because he's going to be a target for a lot of people after all that. And hopefully he can not let it affect him, and he can go back to just being who he was.
Well, he may not know this, and it's fine. But there are a lot of players, not just like one or two, that didn't care for the leaning into the negativity towards our show by just the implication, and they don't want to play with him.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That's sad.
I can see that.
And that's sad, because there are some people that said, if he comes back, I'm not playing. And it's not just like Nick Airball, who had a beef with him. It's not just this guy.
Right.
It's a lot of guys that would like shock you, and that's our feedback. And we didn't ask for that feedback, because we haven't even crossed that bridge. He hasn't asked to come back. We haven't asked him. We don't know what he's doing. And so it's you know what, DQ? It's just an unfortunate
Very
thing.
much so.
Because it's like, God, fuck. Like, I wish that Garrett wasn't going through that. Like, I legitimately, if I had a magic wand, not just for me, for him, I would do that. For Robbie, I don't know what I would do, because I think she might like it. So, like,
I believe she does.
You know what I mean? So whatever. She's fine. Maybe she's not. I don't know. But, like, if she's innocent, which she might probably be, that still sucks that you have to go through that. But again, I think this has worked out for her for plus EV. And but like so many people, like I say, like Lauren, my dealer, and this one and that one and Billy, and these are good people. Like, they got hurt.
They got hurt really bad. And and the wrong people. So when you start talking about Lauren, you start talking about the dealers and Billy, people who had nothing to do with it. Billy wasn't even in the damn place. I mean, just to have people come back and hurt people, that was the part that was disappointing for me. Yeah. I got asked a lot, hey, we want to see you on the Friday game with Garrett. I'm like, y'all are out of your goddamn minds. I'm a punter. I'm not playing with these guys. These guys are real people playing.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed. I mean, like everyone else, I'm a fan. So I tuned in to watch Garrett crush. Mm-hmm. I tune in to watch Andy Stacks and him go at it. I tune in for these people. Yeah. And so when that's taken away from me, I get upset, because it's like, damn, you guys took this shit away from me, and I enjoyed this. Like, it's like watching your favorite TV show, and then all of a sudden they just decide to cancel it for no reason, and you get all pissed off. Yeah. That's kind of what happened over there for me. And so I really hope that Garrett comes back out of this. I hope he's able to, I don't know if he's got to hire a PR firm or whatever else, but I hope he comes back. I hope he comes back strong, and I hope he's able to put this behind him.
All I'm going to say is this. We are going to do, like he will, what is best for us.
Of course.
We're never going to do what's best for him, because he does what's best for him. But with that said, I wish him, no matter what he does, whether it's on our show, not on our show, on someone else, in life, quit poker, I wish him the best. I think he's a good person. He's got a wonderful wife. I don't know if he's already had his baby or he's having it. Nice. I hope it's like perfect. And I honestly, no bullshit, even though I feel the way I feel, wish him the best. And I will tell people out there, if you don't think so, Garrett is a very good person. He has a good heart. But the other things I said are true, and I believe them. That's it. The two things could be true, right?
100%.
Yeah. All right, man. Do you have anything else you want to say? Do you have any other questions for me? Do you want to leave the people with a statement? I mean, I'm going to give you the mic, and then we're gonna close it out.
All right. So the last thing I think I'll talk about is what I get asked about the most.
Okay.
My chair. I get asked about the chair all the fucking time.
We have your chair. That's your part of the family. We have it at our place.
Yeah, I do, and I have my chair at several different places. Yeah. It's one of those requirements that I have to go play. And even though Billy likes to sexualize my chair, and I don't know what kind of creepy stuff he does with it when I'm not around, but
yeah, it's pretty bad.
I've had to clean stains off it, so I know Billy's doing something with my chair.
There's some stuff that's not coming out.
Yeah, I don't think his girlfriend knows that he's having an affair. But
with the chair?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely is.
That's right.
But people don't realize why I have a chair. So, little background. I've had cancer a few times. And I beat cancer.
A few times?
Yep.
What kind?
Colon.
Oh, shit.
Yep. And so for those people who don't know, when you are under the age of 40 and you get colon cancer, your doctor tells you it's like a 1 in 4 million chance of ever happening. And so it's like winning the lottery. I took one for over 3 million men by having it.
Thank you.
And so when that first happened in 2008, I had issues and stuff, and it caused a lot of pain and stuff down below. And so when I would go play cards, I would take a pillow with me. And I would take the pillow off my bed, and I would have to put it behind my back or sit on it or whatever else, just for pure comfort. And I have been doing that ever since 2008 because it kept coming back, and I didn't really have much of a choice. And then when I start playing in card houses, I would bring my pillow to the fucking card house, and people were laughing at me, and they were just sitting like, "What are you gonna do? You gonna sleep here? You gonna do this or the other?" And people who knew who I was go, "Dude, don't
leave the guy alone." Yeah,
you don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
And so I was hosting one of the bigger games at Rounders. Owners were really great. They go, "What can we do for you?" And I go, I could really use my own chair because, I'm not going to ask you to change all your chairs in your card room, but they suck. And so they said, sure. So they helped buy me a chair, and we brought the chair out there. And then as I started playing at the lodge, I would pack that damn thing up, and I would drive it all the way up there. And then I'm like, look, I'm not doing this anymore. If you guys want me to play, you got to have a chair. And so everywhere I go, I've got a chair. The same thing I told Ryan, look, if you want me to play, I got to have a chair. Ryan goes, okay. And so the chair stays here.
I see it every time I'm there, yeah.
And but what people don't realize is that it has to be there for comfort. Now, the reality is you do have the best chairs, bar none, especially for the live stream over there. So I don't need the chair for that, but it's become just kind of like my thing.
Your thing, yeah.
I have to have it regardless of it. And we did it yesterday when we did the meetup game and whatever else. But for most places, they don't. I have to have it for the pure comfort. For people who don't know, if you don't watch, I fidget a lot. I move around a lot. It's because it's uncomfortable for me. So before people laugh or think it's narcissistic or whatever else, it's because I hurt at times and I need to have it.
Well, we're here to cover your ass.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's good. Let me ask you this. Are you good?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I had a scare last year, but it was nothing. So
you're good.
I'm good. Yep.
All right, I'm very happy. I'm very happy to hear that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I think that's what changed about me. That's why I don't mind giving away a lot. That's why I don't mind doing things for charity. I don't mind punting off or whatever else, and I give back to others. For me, life is short, and I don't know when or how long or where I have, and so I want to make sure that before I leave, I give as much back to the community, to people, and that I embrace everything, which is why I have such a positive attitude on everything.
Well, DQ, I'm glad I got to know you. I'm glad you trolled me. You're a good man.
You scared the shit out of me at first.
I'm glad I let you play. And no, seriously, I'm glad you're part of our family at HCL.
Me too.
And we appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this show. This is the Nick Vertucci Show. I am Nick Vertucci, and that is DQ. NV out. That's it. Do a like and subscribe. Yeah. I'll just do one right now. You ready? Guys, I've said this before. If you love this show, even if you like this show, and you want it to continue, understand that it really helps for likes and subscriptions. If you are watching this show on the regular basis, I'm asking you to sub right now. It helps the show. It helps me keep the show going. And if you're watching this episode and you love what you saw from our man DQ, please hit the like button. Appreciate it.